All right, we are recording. Hi, welcome again to another episode of whatever this is, our podcast on Russian football. I don't know why I said it like that. I just did. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for all the support. Like we said, this episode, we none of us, me and Artem, we have not prepared anything for this episode. It feels like it's been years since we last recorded, and this is you're gonna get the full whatever this is experience. We've got the international break. We've got a few other things, but mostly this is going to be probably one of our loosest episodes yet. Before we actually get into the action, though, we have a little competition for you guys. Yes, we are still looking for a new name, and right now our name is whatever this is, which isn't exactly the best or the most unique name we could find. And we are looking for a name for our podcast, and the winner, the person who announces the best name or the only name, will get 2 months of the RPL's YouTube membership, courtesy of the podcast, courtesy of us. No strings attached to that. So yeah, get going with that. Recommend the name, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Tell it to us in the comments, on Twitter, whenever, wherever. And guest today, of course, my co-host for today is, as always, Artem. Artem, how you doing? What's up?
I'm good, man. You?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. There's not really much to talk about. That's, I guess, the best way to.
Pretty much. And yeah, like
Yeah,
like Hanu said, leave a comment if you think of any decent names. If you think of the only name, you get 2 months free Russian Premier League streams, all 8 games, 2 games
yeah,
in English. It's definitely worth leaving a comment down below. And like we said, if there's only one comment, then you're guaranteed to win. If there's
right,
10, then we'll pick the best one. We'll announce it next week's podcast.
right. So let's start off with we're recording on Thursdays, and there's a few games today for the UEFA Nations League, and I have a very special guest joining us to tell us what we think about the international break. You may have heard of him. His name is Stephen A. Smith. He's going to tell us what he thinks about the international break. Hope that came out correct on the mic.
It didn't.
It
It
didn't.
sounds so
Okay,
bad.
okay. It sounds so bad. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, we'll play the YouTube clip or something. But basically, what he said is he's here to tell you right now we don't care about the international break, but we're still going to talk about it. Russia versus Serbia is today. You also have Latvia versus Andorra, and I think Germany versus Spain. A few other big games. Artem, who do you think is going to win this game?
Um, Russia are at home. Not that that makes a difference without the fans, but I don't know. I actually feel quite confident going into this game. Serbia are missing a few decent players, and Russia obviously have a lot of their players. I said this last week, have a lot of their players who are already playing consistent football over the last month, whereas a lot of Serbian players haven't even started their leagues yet.
Yeah,
So I think Russian players are definitely going to be more fit, more ready to go in this game, and I think I'm going to put a score out there. I'm going to say Russia are going to win 2-1.
yeah, that's sound pretty confident there. I don't know if I share that same enthusiasm about the game. I think it's going to be a really tough game. Serbia probably the better side on paper. Russia do have a couple of changes from last week. Lutsenko and some other guy whose name I can't remember.
Golovin.
Oh, Golovin. Sorry, yeah, it was Golovin got injured. They got replaced by Sobolev and Fomin respectively. So squad looks a little bit better now. I think that Sobolev is in it over Lutsenko. So hoping for a good game. Honestly, that's all I really care about. I'm not gonna be really sad. The result is horrible or whatever.
What do
It's
you
just
mean? This is the most important competition in international football.
I honestly prefer the Confederations Cup to this. Like, but I
Oh, the
don't care.
Confederations Cup. To be fair, the Confederations Cup is actually quite fun to watch
Yeah, because you've got
sometimes.
yeah no because you've got I think in 2013 you had Tahiti playing in the Confederations Cup and lost like 10-0 to Spain or something. So
Yeah.
yeah, those games are always fun. But
Is there
overall,
always one country that's like just invited to them, or I'm thinking of the Copa America, am I?
no, I think there is because it's the host of the World Cup. Then it's the winner of every single. I think there are. I think there is
Continent?
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there is. There probably has to be one or two. Copa America also has a couple of invitees.
Yeah, I always think that's hilarious when
Yeah,
like teams like Japan or Qatar in there.
Qatar, exactly.
I really hope that Russia get in there one time. I think they have a chance at winning the Copa America.
Nah, I think Argentina and Brazil will be too good
I don't
for.
know, man. We beat Spain. We can shithouse some South American teams too.
You know what's always funny about the Copa America is that actually a few of the teams that are in the confederation, they don't even get the chance to play. So like Suriname and a couple of others, they're in the CONMEBOL confederation, but they just never get the chance to play. I don't know why that is, but F in the chat for them.
And then teams like Qatar will come in and just take their
Yeah,
place.
see, that's what's wrong with modern football, man. We need our game back. We need the people's game back. Um, this is a really random question that has nothing to do with anything. Artem, what's the most random sporting event you watched live?
Most random sporting event that I watched live. Like how, like are we talking professional sports? Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking professional sports.
Ooh. I don't think I've watched too many strange sports live. Like I went to the World Cup. Obviously, that's not strange at all.
No.
Been to a few Euro qualifiers and stuff like that. Tennis. I went to Wimbledon. I don't think I've been to any like outrageously weird sports. I think everything I've been to is kind of just regular. Why? What about you? And don't say cricket because like cricket's
No, cricket's not
okay
weird.
for
Cricket's
normal
not
for other
weird.
people it'd be weird,
No, cricket's
but
not weird at all. Cricket's the second best sport in the world. Um, you've probably watched some like paddle games, haven't you? Like professional paddle games.
I mean I watched paddle matches like of ex pros if that makes sense, like legends of
Yeah.
the game, but I haven't watched like haven't like they're all in Spain and Argentina and stuff like that, so I haven't
Okay. Yeah. Fair play.
watched anything like that really. I did watch actually, do you know what? The weirdest sporting event ever I witnessed, if this counts. I worked at a world record attempt where
Yeah, I know
one of the
that.
tennis coaches at the club I used to work at, he coached for 48 hours straight. So like,
That's wild.
he needed people there around the clock, so I had to sleep in the club, and you know what I mean. But it was actually mental. Like he actually went for 48 hours straight, and that is crazy.
That is
So
crazy. That's
I
tough.
got like you got to respect it. If that counts as a sporting event, then that's my one.
Yeah. So whenever Serbia are mentioned in a sporting context, in the year 2011, in the cold winters of December in Tokyo, right? We didn't have Google Maps wasn't as common, and the most advanced piece of technology we had. My family went on a vacation to Japan. Was an iPhone 3GS. Okay, so we wanted to check out this Olympic stadium, which was made for like the 1964 Olympics, and it still looks pretty good. To this yet, we just couldn't find it. So like it was like 7 8 p.m. We just walked into, I think it was an indoor arena which was part of it, and just by pure coincidence, uh, USA versus Serbia in the volleyball World Cup was going on over there. Okay, so we just
Yeah.
ended up watching that for like an hour. It was actually pretty fun. Serbia smashed the USA, but that's always a memory that comes to mind. So that's probably the most random sporting event I've watched.
I mean, that's a decent one still. Like
Yeah,
volleyball isn't too strange. Like
yeah,
it would have been funny if you'd said like Bulls or like one of those sports that.
true. I think it was quite random because we didn't anticipate it. We didn't really go to watch. It was quite spontaneous, and it was funny. There was like I think 16 people in the entire stadium. So there's that. That's a little fun fact for you on this podcast. We are now discussing volleyball. But over the last week, there was actually some football that took place. Not that anyone cares or remembers. We had the sixth week of the RPL, as you can see on your screen. It was pretty dead. Artem, did you watch any of these games?
Yes.
Which one?
I don't remember.
See,
I definitely watched Zenit, but I don't remember the rest.
yes. I don't know why it feels like it's been so many years since we recorded, but it does. It's only been 7 days.
I know, right? Do you know, I think it's the international break for one, because it's like it's so dead,
It
right?
is.
And second of all, I think it's because there's no midweek games this week either. Like usually we'd be like, right, recording on Thursday because the last game is on Wednesday.
Yeah, true.
Whereas like yesterday, the day before, Monday. There was nothing. So
Look, I vaguely remember. I watched like the first 15 minutes of Ufa Dynamo, I think. Then I watched the last 30 minutes of Loco Zenit. Probably watched a little bit of CSKA Akhmat and Krasnodar Rostov because I was busy watching the World Chess Olympiad this past weekend, which was a lot of fun. Definitely more fun than a lot of these games. But I don't think I watched a full 90 of any of these games. I think you can't put a gun to my head. I don't think I would remember a single goal scorer in the entire week, honestly. So, not really much to discuss. But football is a reactionary sport, and things can change quite drastically in a matter of a couple of weeks. Just 2 weeks ago, we came in here and talked about how we think Zenit are going to win the league with ease. They're going to walk the league, and now just a couple of weeks later, Spartak are top of the league. Zenit have lost. Zenit have only got 1 point in their past 2 games, and there seems to be a bit of healthy competition over here. Artem, I've got 2 questions for you. Do you think Zenit are in a crisis, and do you think they'll still win the league?
are they in a crisis? Like I'd love to big it up and be like, oh Jesus, this is the end. Semak is gonna lose his job and everything just for the drama of it. But realistically, no. Like it's 2 games.
Yeah.
After the international break is gonna matter. Realistically, I think Zenit are gonna bounce back from this.
Mm-hmm.
Like the last game, obviously against Lokomotiv, even if they had a few players injured, Alexei Miranchuk obviously was on his way out. I don't think it's that much of a problem. I think they'll definitely pick up more points. So whether they're going to pick up more points than Spartak or not, that's a different story.
Right. I think I agree with you for the most, but it's still hard to. I think it's still hard to put because Spartak look really good. Our man Dom Tesco won the Manager of the Month award. Shout out Dom Tesco. He finally looks like they're building a real project there over at Spartak. I think Zenit will finish at the very least, they'll finish second, and I'd probably still say they're favorites to win the league.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you there. I think that they're going to still win the league. Like, I think Spartak have a few dodgy results in them, and
Yeah.
if they had the results that Zenit had in the last 2 games, maybe Spartak wouldn't be able to bounce back the same way Zenit might be able to, but that's yet to be seen. But I don't know. Spartak look very solid though. Like 6 games in, they haven't lost. Respect.
Respect. And I think why people are a bit why things are a bit different from last year, probably because you mentioned earlier that Zenit lost a game and then drew back to back last year in August as well, is because it seems like Zenit, or people are saying that Zenit haven't strengthened enough and they look a bit toothless up front. Now, do you think that's just because of luck or because of a couple of injuries, a couple of red cards, or do you think there's actual cause for concern there to the point where Zenit's team is stagnating or the attack just doesn't look as lethal anymore, or do you think it'll all be fine in a couple of games?
I genuinely think that like Drusi is a massive factor.
Mhm.
Like I know it's only been 2 games, but I genuinely think that Drusi does so much work just behind the attackers that are like it forces players to go out and push onto him, try and make tackles around him, and it frees up some space elsewhere. Now, like this isn't to say that Zenit's other attackers can't do well. Obviously Malcolm is unbelievable. So is Zuba, so is Asman. But I think they are missing Drusi a little bit. I know he got injured in that Dynamo game, so obviously he only missed I think half of that game, or maybe just a bit over half. But it is starting to become a little bit concerning looking at the way
Yeah.
they're attacking. It doesn't look like they're trying to. Let me rephrase this. It doesn't look like they're able to get past a lot of the defenses. It looks like they're trying the same things over and over again, and it's not working. And
Yeah.
they keep trying it, thinking that something will change, whereas in reality they need to change something for more attacking plays to come up.
True. It's very Krasnodarish in a sense where when Krasnodar score a couple of goals, and they're in control of the game. They look very comfortable. Nothing can phase them. But as soon as they go a goal down, it all seems to be very erratic. They're trying to spam crosses. Wonderson is trying to take on 7 players at once. And that's similar to Zenit, but the play styles are, of course, different. Like, what Zenit do is they keep spamming the long balls. Rakitsky is trying to spam the long balls onto Zuba. Lovren was playing left wing versus Dynamo. And I think maybe a backup plan is needed because, complacency might breed in when you've been dominating the league for so long. I still think they'll be fine. One thing we've mentioned in the past is that the bench looks very weak. You're looking for a goal and then you bring on Ejuke and Sutorman. It's like it's time to turn the TV off at that point. But overall, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. At least it seems like we'll have some real competition in the league, which is always good to see. Always fun to see. So that's a positive aspect. There,
Could we quickly mention how Zenit's free kick takers at the moment are Rakitsky and Lovren?
Yeah, a lot of people were really excited about that. A lot of people were, jubilant. A lot of people were laughing at Zenit because Lovren took that free kick. It was actually a decent free kick, fair to Lovren.
Was actually, yeah, but
Yeah,
I mean, it didn't deserve the 200 retweets or whatever it had.
It got like 200,000 views. It's crazy.
Yeah, like what?
I don't know. Liverpool fans were just excited to see Lovren taking free kicks. I think that
Fair enough.
Yeah, the bottom half of the table, we don't talk about that here. Look, Google.
I like the fact that Himke and
they don't even have the badges.
Crests.
They're so irrelevant. But look, here's a funny thing. If you type in FNL Russia on Google, look, there they are. The Russian National Football League. The rotor logo is right there. So, fair play.
They're the face of the league.
Yeah, they're the face of the league. They're not even in it. Now we're going to talk about the pinnacle of European football, which are the Europa League qualification round games. As you can see, some of the biggest names in football take part here, and Russian clubs they are taking part. And in the second qualification round, that draw was made. A couple of the teams we know, teams football fans know, start to come in during this period. We've got Milan playing Artem's favorite club, Shamrock Rovers. You've got Tottenham playing Lokomotiv Plovdiv. We've got a couple of decent teams. But Dynamo Moscow are playing against Lokomotiv Tbilisi. Artem, have you ever heard of Lokomotiv Tbilisi, and do you know anything about them? Because I don't.
No.
Yeah, see?
I haven't, to be honest, but it's one of those draws I feel like you look at it and you're just like, Dynamo should get through. And you like at the back of your head, you're like, okay, there's probably like 90% chance they'll go through. And it'll be extremely disappointing if they don't. Yeah. But they're not going to get any props for going through.
Yeah, I agree. I knew a club by the name of Lokomotiv Tbilisi existed, but that's all I really knew. You've got to keep in mind, last year we had Arsenal Tula play against Neftchi Baku and get absolutely hammered. So we hope that doesn't happen. It's only a one-leg tie, so I guess that's make of that what you will. Rostov will play in the third qualification round, and they are going to play the winner of the game between. Look, we're going to play the winner of the game between Kairat and I believe it's going to be an Israeli. I think it's Maccabi Haifa, one of them. But listen, see, people are going to sleep on this game, but Rostov versus Kairat, and I'm a Kazakh football expert as well. This is going to be a very, very fun game to watch because Kairat, they finally look like they're going to win the league in Kazakhstan. They've got Wagner Love. They've got a very strong squad, so I don't think that's going to be easy at all for your mans in Rostov. Artem, surely you're going to be on the edge of your seat waiting for that tie to happen?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably Rostov's only chance at a kick clash. So
that's true.
That will actually be a decent enough one. I know, obviously, Kairat are always in the Europa League qualifiers at least. Yeah. They're always kind of, pushing to get into that tournament. So, I mean, since Arshavin and Miranchuk left them, haven't really followed them at all. Mm-hmm. But It probably will be a closer game than most people think.
Yeah, and you'll have to see a nice little European qualification tie going, being a bit interesting. And I'm trying to remember who Dynamo are going to play if they manage to win the.
Honestly, if Kairat get through, though, I'm not going to be too pissed because
Yeah, neither am I.
Almaty is from where my parents are from. So
Neither am I. And I think they deserve to get through. And their manager actually is he's only 32 years old, and it seems like there's a really interesting project brewing over there. So if anybody wants to keep an eye on some of the niche games, that's something to keep an eye on. Dynamo are going to play. Oh yeah, see, this is interesting. Dynamo are going to play the winner of the game between Teuta and Granada. Artem,
they're going to play Granada.
yeah, they're going to play Granada. Artem, you originally thought that this would be an even game, and I thought it's actually going to be a bit of a hard one for Dynamo.
No. Hang on.
What?
I think that Dynamo are going to win. I don't think that Granada are going to win.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying the opposite. I think it's.
I didn't say it was going to be even. 5-0. Nah, I don't know. I think Dynamo have to. Like, Dynamo are decent enough to win. Like, I think the Spanish league is only like I keep bringing these points back up, but
Yeah.
the fact that the Spanish league is only starting around then, I think it's only starting the weekend after that match. Or sorry, the weekend after.
It's starting the next weekend after the Nations League is over.
Okay, well then, I don't know. I still think they'll.
But you know what?
Still think they should win.
It's that could have an effect because a lot of teams, especially if they're in like the top 5 leagues, they choose to focus on the league over the Europa League and stuff sometimes. So Granada
Yeah.
might get a little bit complacent, put out like a weaker squad or something. We never know. Dynamo, I hope they win. If they win, it'll be big for them. But I'll stick with Granada.
How many rounds have they got to go through? Do they have to just beat the team
Yeah.
they're playing now, Locomotive, and then
Granada?
Granada?
Then another one, I think. Yeah, another
Oh
one.
Jesus! Okay, I don't think Dynamo are going to get there.
Yeah.
I feel like the teams are getting progressively better.
I hope Rostov get through. If Rostov don't get through, it'll be disappointing.
Yeah, facts.
It'll be really disappointing. Krasnodar, Russia's national bottlers, are also going to play in European qualification games. They are going to play the winner of PAOK versus Benfica. And Artem, how do you think they'll do in the Europa League group stages this season?
Hopefully they get out of them, but
Exactly.
you never know. No, to be fair, I think they have a chance. Obviously, do you know, Benfica, I'd be much more worried about. PAOK, I think they have a chance.
Benfica, I think if they're drawing... Oh, there's actually 2 legs in this one.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
exactly.
I don't know, man. But surely if it's like, if PAOK beat Benfica, then... Although it is a 1-leg tie.
It's over 1 leg, and it's more likely that they'll get PAOK will get a 1-off result against Benfica at home, and then bottle it against Krasnodar. Is kind of what I'm trying to get at. Hopefully that happens, but to be honest, like the last couple of years, Russia has had 3 teams that go into the Champions League, but not one time
has
they actually had 3 teams in the Champions League.
And this is the last time that's going to happen for at least another year, right? Next year there'll only be 2, and then if we do well enough this year, you might have a...
Which is massive, though. That's why I really want Krasnodar to get in there, because realistically they can get 3rd place and hop into the Europa League then. Pick up points. We need to be tactical here, yeah? We need to work as a league together. If it suits more, drop down into the Europa League, play a couple of games there, get as far as possible. Because I think the Europa League, once you get past around the 32, you get the same amount of coefficient points as you do in the Champions League until the final. So, all I'm saying, Russian teams be tactical this season. We might get back above Portugal.
Yeah, and to be fair, if it's Krasnodar, Benfica, that's like the battle of the coefficients.
Exactly.
And Listen, man. If you thing with Russian teams is your speech there was quite motivating, and I do feel energized now. But the thing with Russian teams is, if you want to actually drop down to the group round of 32, you actually have to finish third, and neither Lokomotiv nor Zenit could actually even manage that last year. It's just a
Yeah, but you know what? I still feel hard done by Zenit. Like they had the same amount of points as who was it? Was it Benfica?
yeah. I got shanked 3-0 in the last
Yeah,
game.
they had the same amount of points. They had 7 points. 7 points is usually enough. Like
Yeah,
I'd say 7 points 98% of the time. No idea where I pulled that figure from, but 98% of the time, I guarantee,
yeah.
a third place playoff at least. Third place finish, sorry.
I don't know. I mean, and to be fair, Zenit did have two teams that went on in the Champions League semi-finals, but
Exactly. So people thought we had a weak group, and it ended up that we had the best group, the group of death.
exactly. At least next year we'll have the Europa Conference League, so Russian teams might have a chance to win something. But I think team like
That's going to be exciting.
yeah, it
That's
is.
going to be really exciting. Is it working the same kind of way as the Europa League does now, where like say the third place team in the Europa League will drop down to
So here's how it works, right?
yeah
Europa League currently has 48 teams in the group stages, so that's going to be reduced to 32. So all three competitions will have 32, 32, 32. And
yeah
the top two teams in the Champions League go to the next round of that. But the
yeah
third place team in the Champions League is going to play the second place team in the Europa League in another playoff, right? So, like the second place team in the Europa League actually isn't guaranteed I mean, I guess it is, but it's not at the same time. And then the third place team in the Europa League will play the second placed team in the Conference League to for like it'll be a knockout round, but at the same time it's not going to be a knockout round. It's weird.
that's
But
so confusing.
yeah, it is confusing. And I'm probably not explaining it too well either.
No,
But
I get what you're saying.
but I really think Russian teams will have a good chance. And this
But if it's going to be 32, 32, 32, right?
yeah.
That means we're only getting an extra 16 teams in Europe. It's not going to be that much, right? Like, if we're only getting an extra
Uh
16 teams in Europe, realistically, one of them will be Russian.
no, I think what happens wait, hold up. Let's read. Let's be research for once. The competition will primarily be contested by teams from lower rank to a member of it. So what, like there's not going to be any, group stage, like teams don't directly qualify for the group stage in the Conference League, so it sort of means that there will be more teams. And this was basically made to develop the game in Eastern Europe and places where it won't basically, to sort of give those teams a chance of some glory.
Do you know what? I'm all for it. I'm looking forward to seeing how it pans out, but I'm really struggling to figure out how it's working right now until I see it in action. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true. No, it is. It is
It's
definitely
like the
confusing.
Nations League. Like when people told me about the Nations League at first, I was like, "What are you talking about? Like, how is this actually going to work? What do you mean? There's groups of 3 teams or 4 teams, and
Yeah.
you get promotion and relegation and everything." But now looking at it, it actually does make sense.
Yeah. For anyone looking for a better description, just go to Football Manager, sim one season ahead, and then just look.
Yes,
Yes, that's the best way to
yes,
do it. That's the
exactly.
easiest way to do it. And
So it's starting in 2021, yeah.
yeah, starting in 2021. It's
Okay,
gonna.
hopefully COVID doesn't fuck that shit up. I don't think it
I don't
will though.
think it will. No, I don't think it will.
That's
But
exciting.
it is exciting.
So wait. So this season there's another this season there's another European place in Russia. I'm guessing.
I don't know if there is another European place. I think it's the. Let's just read. Okay, we'll cut this part out if it's too long. Um. Yeah. See, 6 domestic third place league teams from associations 7 to 12. So what happens is that Russia isn't guaranteed the Europa League place Russia had that goes to the Conference League qualification,
Yeah.
And if that, and then like the second place Champions League team, they're also going to have to be in the qualification round. So they're probably going to drop down to the Europa League, and that's how it works. Russian teams basically drop down the competition, but it actually gives them a bit of a chance to win something, doesn't it? Because
Yeah, I get you.
right now, Russian teams are too weak for the Champions League, and they're also too weak for the Europa League. So it'll
You
be
know what though?
interesting.
Actually, I genuinely think that Russia could do well in that.
I think so too.
Like, because I feel like Russian teams, especially like say, what would this be like? Let's say just fifth and sixth place in Russia. I feel like the fifth and sixth place teams in Russia, like let's say, who was it last season? It would have been was it Rostov?
I think so.
Who was
Rostov and
sixth?
Tula. Oh no, wait, this
Okay,
season? No, Rostov and
maybe not
Dynamo.
Arsenal Tula.
Rostov and Dynamo.
Okay, well let's just say six teams this season, right?
Yeah.
Let's just say the Moscow teams all get into the actual European competition. So
Yeah.
Lokomotiv, CSKA, Spartak, and let's say Zenit also. Then that means like Krasnodar, let's say, just come fifth, even though that's probably not the way it's going to go. That means like it's going to be Dynamo or like Rostov or one of those teams, which like I feel like they'd beat the fifth and sixth team in like most competitions. Like I'm talking like even France,
Yeah.
even Spain, they'd have a chance.
I think it'll make it if I honestly think Russian teams really should see look so yeah, okay, so there'll be 5 places. The top two go into the one goes into the group stage, one goes into the Champions League qualification, one Russian team goes to the Europa League qualification, and then 2 teams go into the Conference League qualification. I actually like that. I think there's a good chance there.
Yeah, I like that as well. Do you know what? I think we should move away from this topic because I feel
Yeah,
like
we
we
really
spent
should.
way too long
We
on
just
it. I
broken
feel like
down.
if anybody's listening right now, I'd say everybody either switched off during that topic or it's
Exactly.
just like, here,
Yeah.
what are you guys doing?
What are you talking about? We're sorry for that extremely geeky and mathematical breakdown. We're going to move on to the fun. We're going to move on to transfers. Alexei Miranchuk has finally left Russia. He has finally gone. Wait, hold up. To Atlanta for 14.5 million. I don't think he's actually been announced yet, but that should come in the next day, hopefully. And he looks delighted. Artem, do you share his delight?
He looks good in blue.
Yeah, he does.
I mentioned this to you yesterday, but it looks like one of those, the Colo Torre meme that's like,
yeah.
there's no need to be upset. Like, you could caption it that easily. There was one thing that really hit home for me there. I was looking at a tweet, some Russian account, I can't remember who it was, but it was like, it was a picture of him holding the shirt, obviously number 59.
Yeah.
And it just said Miranchuk. And they were like, it took me a while to realize what was wrong with that jersey.
Yeah.
And it's the AL dot that's gone.
Yeah.
You know the way like in Lokomotiv, him and Anton had like AN Miranchuk, AL Miranchuk, whereas this is just Miranchuk, and oh man,
it's weird.
That hit hard.
It is weird.
It is. He's gonna be without his brother.
Wonder if that's gonna have an impact. Like,
I don't think it will.
Yeah, I don't think it will either. I think last year I would have said it will because they really used to play like a pair, but now I don't think it will.
Nah, like even a couple of seasons ago, like his brother went on loan to Estonia.
Did he?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, one of those countries. Look him up. He went to one of those countries, like really weird loan move. This was before he was like one of Lokomotiv's better players.
Oh wow, he did. And look at that. 14 in 30 games.
I told you. Yeah, 2016. So like I remember that move and I was like, oh, so his brother's never gonna be quite that good. But he proved me wrong.
Yeah. The Estonian league is a wild place. Just like why we talk about
this podcast is going all over the place.
Yeah, this podcast is going all over the place, but we don't care about the international break. So we're going to talk about absolutely everything, bar the things we should actually, talk about. I think one while we're still on Miranchuk, I think it's a really, really good move for him. I think it's better than Milan. I think it's better than Juventus, better than any other team. The manager also said that he's going to sort of act like a replacement for Ilicic, who I think will be out for at least a couple of months because of personal issues.
Did he say that?
Yeah, he said that he's, we have big plans for him. He's like going to take a little bit of time, but we believe in him, and he's going to be our Ilicic replacement. So it's all
That's
really,
really exciting.
yeah. I think he's a perfect replacement for Ilicic too.
I really hope he does well. And like you said, it's better than him moving to Milan or Juventus. I feel like he's going to have a lot less pressure to play with in Atalanta. And the way they play football at the moment suits him down to a T. So, really, fingers crossed. I think everybody in Russia has become an Atalanta fan overnight. So, I really, really hope that he does well. And I think he can use that as either a trampoline to move him onto a bigger club, or he can elevate Atlanta to that next level. Interesting as well. He took a wage cut to go there too, so I gotta respect that. He's still their highest paid player though.
You think that's true?
Oh, it's true. Yeah, he's getting $2 million a year. Their next highest is I can't remember. Someone with 1.6. So
see, that doesn't make sense to me because I don't know, but I don't think he's going to slot straight into the first team. If he does, that's wonderful, because then he's almost like a star signing. And why would you pay so much money to? Why would a substitute be your highest paid player? And
I don't think they're looking at like you said. The manager's looking at him as an Ilicic replacement. He's looking at him as an important player. And you're not going to attract players like Miranchuk with smaller salaries like that. Like Miranchuk, I think he was on 3 million at Lokomotiv. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
He may have been on maybe 2.5 or something, but he did take a pretty big wage cut to go to Italy. So
fair play, man. Good luck to him. And honestly, I'm really confident about this transfer, and I hope it pans out very, very well.
Me too. I'm more confident about this than I was with Golovin, but Golovin's been very good too.
I think actually Monaco were very, very good when he moved, and then they just went to shit after that. So anyway, moving on. Not too many other transfers to notice or note. Ural have signed a couple of players. No one really cares. The main transfer we really have to talk about is this Chedira Ejuke guy who went to CSKA for 11.5 million. Apparently, he's very highly rated. Could become the next promise in the Russian league. It's been a while since CSKA have had like a very quick technical dribbler like him. Could really, help them out along with Vlasic and Chalov and the Führer. Artem, quickly, what do you think of this fella? Do you think, honestly, what are your thoughts on this transfer, if you have any?
It's really exciting. I'm really liking CSKA's transfer business this summer. Okay, the Führer has been kind of dodgy, not been great, but the rest of their transfers look good. Like even Bruno Fuchs as well, who's there. He looks like he could be a player, and I like the way they announced him too. So
yeah, and then he got injured in his first game.
Look, injuries happen. Fingers crossed. In the long term, he'll be worth the money they paid for him.
Yeah, Zenit, I think they signed for 2 million. He didn't really get the same fanfare as the others. I think he's a very good transfer. I think I mentioned that last week. But speaking of last week and speaking of the Führer, probably in my opinion, one of our funnier segments was us reading off the interview with Adolfo Gaich, where he talked about a bunch of things. If you haven't listened to that, stop watching this episode and go back to the last one. But Artem, this week we have another interview to read off.
Is this going to be a weekly segment? Interview of the week.
Listen, man, if the interviews keep coming, we'll be happy to read them off, right? It was a slow news week, and Sport BO saved us. So Hwang In-Beom, who is Rubin Kazan's new signing, had a really nice debut. Seems like a very good player. He had his first interview with Sport Business Gazeta, and the headline is he wants to play like Iniesta, which is very fair. He turns his head even while driving, which is a mistranslation of something. and he fired a rifle in the army, which is understandable because in Korea they have mandatory military service. The subheading is what you need to take care of. He says that dogs are no longer eaten in Korea, but this is inaccurate. Like,
I love how it's like, yeah, this is what he said, but we fact checked it and it's
we
not true.
fact exactly, he said it. He is the Korean in the room, okay? But he's wrong. So again, the interview starts off fairly decently. Why did you move to Russia? Well, going there, going here, and Artem, see if you can read the Russian and translate what he's trying to say over here. What does this mean? Kruchu Golovai, Daje Kogdai. Like, what does this mean? Like, where have they messed up with the translation?
No, that's actually a direct translation. That's correct.
So what? He turns his head while driving.
I assume when he's playing, he's looking around quite a lot. You generally see those midfielders that they're always like turning their head. They're looking around. They have like they can almost turn their head completely backwards. They've got like a 360 view of the pitch. So basically, he's just saying, yeah, I turn my head like that even when I'm driving. So he's always looking around.
It's where every driver in the world turns their head when they're driving. Isn't that like? Aren't you taught that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how it is in the rest of the world, but over here you can't pass your test without it. So
Yeah.
Russia's on a different level. We all know that. Like, if
That
you've
is
ever
true.
been in a car in Russia, you know.
Yeah.
Or
India and
even if you've
Russia.
been on YouTube, you know.
It is wild. Now, Artem, again, do you want to be the player this time, or do you still want to be the journalist?
I'll be the journalist again. I feel like you did quite well as the Führer last week.
Okay.
So
this isn't. It's a very small part. So we're going to start off with this one, okay, on Instagram, that part. Artem is the journalist, and I am Hwang In-Beom. Artem.
okay, let's start. On Instagram, you posted pictures of your dog. Did you take her to Kazan?
While she stayed in Korea, no, right now she's staying in Korea. But when my parents come, they will come with her to Kazan. It is a Pomeranian.
There's a myth in Russia that Koreans cook dishes from dogs. How are things really?
This practice is already over. 10 years ago, this tradition really existed. Now, I don't believe that people do this. For example, I have a dog. How can I do that to her? Which is a wild sentence in honesty, because I don't think anybody actually kills their own dog to eat them. Still, we don't judge here. True, I'm not 100% sure that there is no such thing in Korea anymore, but generally, this is no longer accepted. By the way, the guys at Rubin also asked me about this. You are not the first with such a question.
You know what? Russian people are just so curious about the weirdest things.
Exactly.
You know
Same
what though?
with India.
I genuinely think that we should start like taking note of who the interviewers are in these situations, because if we can find more interviews with them, because clearly they're asking the pressing questions here.
Exactly.
So
This one
look,
unfortunately doesn't have a name, but this is not as funny or as long as Gaich last week, but it still is hilarious. Like, imagine him going on his first training session for the club, right? They ask him, "Hi, what's your name? Where are you from?" And then the next question is, "Do they really eat dogs in Korea?" Like it
you
was
know,
like,
I already know who asked him that question. It was Dmitry Tarasov. It has to be.
oh yeah, and he probably didn't know who Dimitri Tarasov. He was like, "Oh, it's just that random midfielder guy. He just asked me a question." Honestly, because it's like
Yeah.
he's been at the club for 6 days, and they're already asking about killing dogs. So
I still can't get over the fact that even though they interviewed him and he said, no, we don't do that over there in Korea
yeah,
anymore, they put in the title. He said they don't do that anymore, but they do.
but they do.
Like, that's just a dick move. That is just
Yeah.
mean.
Do you have a source or anything? And they didn't mention it after the question was asked. They didn't say, nah, you're wrong. Nah, they still eat dogs. Shut up. They just put it in the subheading. That's just rude. But anyway, another funny interview for your head tops. And yeah, we hope we get more interviews like this. So this week again, I think this is the final real main topic that we had. There's not much to talk about this week. We've discussed volleyball, Estonia, a bunch of other relevant things. Next week we'll be back again, hopefully with some more interesting things to talk about. Thanks for tuning in. Follow us on Twitter. Give us a like, subscribe, share, comment. Tell about the podcast to your grandmother. Just do whatever you want. Thanks for listening. And Artem.
Yeah, so like Hanu mentioned at the start of the podcast, we're still looking for a name. So if you want 2 months of Russian football on YouTube, leave a comment down below, drop us a message on Twitter, or we'll tweet it out. We'll put a tweet up with asking people to leave their names there as well. So if you want a chance at that, leave us a name for the podcast. And like Hanu said, if you enjoyed it, please leave a like, share it around, and we'll see you all next week.